show for you tonight? No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't have shit.
It's a great night, though.
God, that mic sounds good. Everybody, we've got a new setup, and I'm trying not to blow everybody's ears out. This is Tommy. We're becoming friends. I've known him through the brew industry for about 4 or 5 years.
Yes, we frequent local breweries.
He
works at them. I drink at them.
I burp at him. I go to the restroom at him. You're doing Culver Mike's brew class right now.
I was actually in the first cohort.
So you already did it?
Yeah, it's through Maricosta, the Technology Career Institute. They've
Okay.
got Brew Tech program.
Yes, they do.
If you're in North County, San Diego, or even like Inland Empire, Orange County, right now a lot of it's online with just like a 1 day a week. So I guess they've kind of expanded their who they're bringing in. But yeah, that was a great course. I took it last year, and I've just been kind of leaning on Mike as a mentor because he's a good guy.
Mike is a good dude. For those who watch these broadcasts, he was on, I think, the second or third one. Mike's the big guy. He owns Culver Brewery in Vista, Carlsbad.
Carlsbad.
Yep. How's my audio?
Good.
How's my audio, Babs?
You're good.
Am I like the love doctor?
Don't get that close to it.
Don't get that close to it. Mike's a really good dude. I spent a lot of time at Culver. I think Ben's coming on next week. And I got to stop going there because I ate too many deli sandwiches, man.
They're delicious.
They're really good. And when I heard they were opening up a deli, I was like, what? Like, how good can this be? This kind of sounds fishy. And joke's on me, man.
Yeah.
I don't go to Board and Brew? Pizza? I don't go to Board and Brew anymore.
Yeah.
That was my sandwich spot.
Yeah, Board and Brew's good, but I haven't had them since Locally Toasted opened up.
Same with me.
Yeah.
And the thing about going to delis, the same one over and over, if you just keep going, it all starts to taste the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Tommy. Oh, that was loud. We've got some topics today. 2-week fermentation. Is it still a thing, or is it a thing of the past? Best beer drinking cities that we've been to. We have a very interesting collab on Sunday. There's a homie coming down from Los Angeles, Babs, and we're going to do some beer battered pretzel thing. Beer battled pretzel bagel dogs. And
Why not?
And he's a vegan, so we gotta kind of play around with the ideas of that. Still could work. Anything's a good idea as long as it's done right. So we're going to do a collab on Sunday. I don't think we need to talk about it any more than that. I just talked about it. I don't know why
I'm excited.
Wrote it down. This is kind of the main pulse of this video. This is probably what's going to be the title of it when it goes live. Innovations in brewing are more rapid these days. And I've got 3 things off the top of my head. And we'll talk about more as that goes on. And then we've got big news at the end. Somebody in this room is opening up a brewery. And there's 3 people in here, so we'll keep that at the end. But for the top, first and foremost, how long have you been brewing? How long have you been homebrewing?
What year is it? 2020.
Good question.
I think it was like 2012
Oh, longer than me.
or 2013 in college. With one of my buddies, I don't honestly remember the like origin of like, hey, let's get into this.
Mr. Beer Kit.
He's a good guy. He's coming down. Dumont. He's gonna be down this weekend, so I'm gonna ask him that. But
Did you go to college in San Diego?
Bay Area. Yeah.
Same with me. Sonoma State.
Oh, nice. My sister went there.
Where'd you go?
UC Berkeley.
Oh, you're smart as fuck, man. And your brother went to UCLA, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are smarter than shit.
UC system, and the state schools. My oldest brother went to SLO, so
Damn.
stretched up the coast.
Where'd you go to high school?
Carlsbad High.
Shit, man.
Yeah, North County.
Did you grow up right around here?
Yeah, off Poinsettia, so like
A little bit south.
Yeah, south.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Carlsbad and Berkeley, not bad places to live.
Not at all.
So 2012, 2013.
Yeah, just kind of got into we roped another friend of ours into splitting the cost of the equipment with us.
What equipment are we talking?
just extract. Yeah, so we got the just kitchen pot, the I don't even know if we started with it, but the copper coil for immersion cooling.
Yeah.
And yeah, so in Berkeley, I didn't know it at the time, but one of the foremost and early homebrew shops was there, and shoot, I'm blanking on the name of it. It's Winecraft or something like that. Wine and Barrel. And,
you think it's still there?
I think it's still there.
Was that me or you? Take it out of my raise. It's just a phone.
So we were fortunate to have that support up there. Like literally, we would go in, and the guy told us exactly how to do it. We're not the brightest people. We had to go back and Google it, and literally it's the same guy on YouTube doing a step-by-step video.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
It's oh wow, this guy knows what he's talking about.
What's the name of the channel?
Shoot, man, I don't know.
This was a while ago.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that but yeah, so just kind of fooled around with that and had a great time, and that sparked the love affair with fermentation for sure.
Did you, because the thing about the broadcast, we kind of talk about the same shit over and over and over, and I'm trying to write these things down so we don't do that. It's kind of hard to find not even a lifetime brewer, but someone that just brews for a decade, because people get so in and so out of it so fast. They get out of it as fast as they get into it. In those 8 or 9 years, did you ever take a pretty big hiatus on brewing?
Yeah, there have been a couple. And honestly, I would imagine that probably stems from a go bigger or go home probably mentality, where it's all right, I know that, because for me, for sure, it's all right, I either want to spend more money to do this better, or it's I just shouldn't do that. So I wonder if that's kind of where that comes from, but always go bigger.
Did you ever want to, generally I think people have the most passion or drive or spend the most money is when, because everyone's in the back of their mind is they want to open up a brewery. Was there a couple times in those 8 years where you thought, we're going to open up a brewery, we're going to open up a brewery in Berkeley, or we're going to do something? And especially at the time, because you were brewing before the big boom took off, probably 2013, 2014. So I'm sure that was playing around with your head, playing in the back of your mind.
Yeah, probably.
But how serious were you guys to?
Not super serious. I mean, I was definitely into brewing, probably more so than my studies at the time, but I wasn't thinking about doing it as
so you were still in school.
Starting my own thing. But I definitely wanted to be in and around the beer industry for sure. What
was that? Turn your phones off.
It's a donation.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Did the Mario thing show up?
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Well, right on, man. That's. I didn't know that about you, man. I didn't know about Berkeley and San Luis Obispo, and sounds like your family's smarter than shit, man.
Yeah.
I went to Sonoma State.
We work hard.
I don't know where the hell my sister went.
Fortunate.
What's up?
We're fortunate,
Carlsbad boys, I like it.
Carlsbad's got a good public school system.
San Diego has a great public school system. San Diego, Torrey Pines, Acosta, Carlsbad, San Diego. There was no problems. I grew up in Encinitas. I never saw any.
Yeah.
Very fortunate for my parents to, grow up where we did. Shout out to Pops,
yep,
Mama.
Shout out.
So, I was reading on the forums the other day that a lot of people, there's a lot of egos in brewing. A lot of people, a lot of beers. There's just beer snobs and pretty much everything. You could say the same thing about golf or this and that. And I was reading that the brewing's speeding up its process. Home brewing is speeding up its process from back in the day to mashing in for an hour to boiling for 90 minutes and stuff like that. I think everything's being accelerated. Pretty much every step of brewing.
For sure, questioning conventions.
Sure.
Which is a good thing, I think.
And I think a lot of people get out of home brewing just because of how time consuming and how much work it actually is. So, and I'm for that. I'm all for innovation and I don't care what the process is as long as it tastes good at the end. Same goes for food. Same goes, for barrel aging sours or whatever. Whether you want to put it in a barrel for a year or kettle sour it. Now there's new yeast, sour Philly Lallemand yeast, where you pretty much cut the kettle sour day in half, or the 2 day in half. But we were talking about this topic the other day. We were talking about 2-week fermentation, which I don't think anybody ferments for 2 weeks anymore.
Right.
Unless you're doing maybe something over 10%, or you're doing a barley wine or something.
Or like a Kolsch maybe, or where
yeah,
you're really trying to.
Because for me, I focus everything on my whole brewing's emphasis is geared around temperature control.
Yeah.
Like if I have a yeast starter and we hit it with oxygen and we have a temperature control, we can ferment in like 4 days. And then I'll give it like another maybe day once the airlock stops for diacetyl rest, which is kind of a joke because I don't even think I taste diacetyl.
Like
some
you
people
personally?
I like the taste of butterscotch. Maybe I like it.
Yeah.
And if it does have diacetyl, just it sounds way better now, Babs. What'd you do? Did you turn it up or down? You turned it down. If it does have diacetyl, just change the name from whatever it was to put butterscotch ale or
butterscotch brown ale.
Butterscotch brown ale. But how do you ferment ales? I know lagers are a little bit longer and certain styles of beer are a little bit longer, but the majority of the popular ales that we do, blondes, pale ales, reds, West Coast IPAs, session IPAs. What's your fermentation longevity?
Yeah. Well, and you touched on it. Definitely depends on the yeast, and the whole Kveick yeast has
revolutionized the game.
That's a whole new thing. You could use the same type of yeast, and depending on the temperature or the oxygen level and what you actually want to get out of it, you can do it at a subdued temperature, lower temperature, good amount of oxygen for a longer time period and get just a cleaner profile. Or you could do higher temperature, same amount of oxygen, shorter time frame, get more esters and phenols out of it. And then it's just, I think, and it kind of comes back to your point about like beer snobs and stuff like that. Like, I'm definitely conscious of how much I think about beers, and I try not to be like exclusatory where it's like you should be thinking this hard about it. I just overthink things, beers included. And
do you do Untapped? Do you bash people on Untapped? You do.
No, I mean, I haven't been on Untapped in a while, and honestly, so I went back and I watched that one episode of yours, and it was great. I think your point about having it as a beer Pokedex.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of people started out.
Just to remember what you've had.
Yeah, and just kind of have it with your friends too, where it's like, oh, my buddy Ryan thought this beer was great. I'm gonna search it out.
Right. It's
unfortunate that
it's too reflected, I think, more often than not, and I think we beat on this in every video, but it's too... I think it's too... The biggest factor for Untapped is customer service. Like, if you have a bad customer service... And I don't even think that goes for beer. I think that goes for everything. I think that goes for Chuck E. Cheese or a hotel or something. Mm-hmm. If you go to the nicest hotel in the world and you want to bring in your, 4 dogs or something, and they say no, and you're going to bash them and give them a 1 star or something because the train's too loud.
Or I'm not allowed to hang out at Chuck E. Cheese alone. What's that all about?
Yeah. So, and I said this in the last podcast, I'm not a fan of denying somebody business. I don't think
Yeah.
Because it does carry weight, and I work at tasting rooms and stuff, and we do get a bad Yelp review or a Google review. It's we talk about it, and we have to address it, and who was it, and this and that, and I completely lost idea of what we were talking about.
Yes, I agree with you, but I'm not sure how to respond.
Fair enough. Have you ever tasted diacetyl? Is it another thing of the past?
Yeah. So part of the brew program, and Mike was great about the whole
Mike doesn't cut corners. Mike is through and through diacetyl rests and bringing it,
thorough for sure.
Just bringing it up a couple degrees for a day or two and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, and at the same time, though, he'll be
That's
like,
not me.
I'm going to mash in and then 15 minutes later mash out if that's the profile I'm going for in a hazy beer or, just something where, it makes sense in what he's trying to get to. But, yeah, I mean, you got to do diacetyl tests. You got to do a diacetyl rest if it needs it, and you don't go past that diacetyl rest until you've done that test. And it's easy to do. You've got a microwave. You just take a sample,
Bring it up a
make
little
sure
bit.
that you get some sanitizer in that sampling port. You don't want to introduce any microbes. And just bring it up and smell it, taste it. Ideally, you've got other people around. Females actually have a
What
higher
are those?
level of sensory. Typically.
I did not know that.
It of course varies.
Are we allowed to
between
say that? It's
individuals.
2020. Can we get away with I'm just kidding, man.
No, I mean, and this is one reason why I would say get more females in the brewing industry is their sensory is actually more acute than men.
I did not know that. I worked at a place where the head brewer was a girl, and she was badass.
There you go.
Culture Solana Beach.
Oh, yeah.
She worked there for like 4 years.
She's cool.
She's shredded.
I forget her name. What?
I fucking forgot her name too.
She's cool, though. I've seen her around. She knows
She's
her
not
stuff.
listening to this. I'm allowed to forget her name.
Yeah. I want to say it's like Christy.
No,
With a K.
it's
Something with a K.
Addison now. He was the guy that was helping me out big time on the hard seltzers because those are tough to do.
I haven't tried one yet, but
The name of the game is you want to use turbo yeast and you want to use a lot of carbon. If you don't use turbo yeast, it could smell like sake. No, if you use turbo yeast, there was two things that threw me off. If you use turbo yeast, if you don't use turbo yeast, it could look clear, and if you don't use carbon, like a distillery arm or whatever, when they fill it up with carbon.
like a carbon filter.
Yeah, pretty much a carbon filter for water and stuff like that. If you don't use the carbon filter or the turbo yeast, there's a good chance it's going to look thick, like yolky, and it's going to smell like sake. So those are the two things I got from it. Hard seltzers are gnarly though. Like I've had, grab 4 or 5 safe ale yeast and just keep throwing them in there and stuff because it dies out and you got to hit it with more yeast nutrient.
Yeah.
And the craft beer scenes, the craft breweries that are trying to replicate like the Trulies and White Claws,
Yeah.
they're not doing a good job.
Honestly,
I've had some that taste like orange juice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but it's I'm just kidding.
It's not my bag. That said, I'll try anything twice to 20 times, in that range.
But I think it has to taste like Truly or White Claw, or else people aren't going to think it's good because that is the point of reference.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you get something that you pour it in a glass and it looks a little bit too much like pineapple juice, or it's
Yeah.
I mean, let's think about White Claw and Truly. They're very, very carbonated. Have you noticed that? There's just a lot of burping and bubbles with those.
Yeah, that
And
carbonic bite.
And I've had those at craft breweries, and I got none of that, where it was just like flat as it was like juice. So
I would go back to Mike at Culver. He's planning on making one.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
he gets scientific with it, and
Well, they're so easy
I
to do.
won't say anything because I don't know anything about them.
They're not easy to do, but they are a tenth of what it would cost to make a beer. It is the cheapest thing to do. And then you go to your tavern and you see that a hard seltzer is $6 and at West Coast IPA is $6. And I just think of the margins in my head. I'm just like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
They're making so much money off hard seltzers.
Yeah.
They're making so much money off hard seltzers.
Coca-Cola's getting into it.
A hard seltzer?
Yeah.
How so?
It's like
it's not going to be Coca-Cola. They're going to.
It's like Topo Chico or something like that.
Why wouldn't they just buy something and not have to deal with the whole start
it's
of a
so
brand?
cheap to make their own.
I guess you're right. I see commercials for Corona now. Corona doing whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. No, I was curious to
The game
hear.
done changed, fam. The game done changed.
Yeah. I was curious to
crazy,
hear
man.
you and Maury's talking about it because
I don't even remember it.
I'm on the
But I just know
sidelines of it right now, and I'm sure that I'll have to get into it at some point. But
I think
I'm
that
drinking my ales and lagers while I can.
I think it's like the last kind of like line of integrity for a lot of breweries. I think when everybody got into beer, it was just kind of, back to, you've been around brewing probably West Coast IPAs since when you got into brewing and stuff like that. And that's kind of what got everybody into it.
Yep.
And obviously everybody's beer menu in their tasting rooms had 4 or 5 West Coast IPAs on. And that was kind of like pretty much the integrity of craft beer. It was the way to get away from the Budweisers and the Stella Artois.
The rebellion and the backbone of it.
Right. And I think that there's 2 sides to this for me. I'm all for commerce. I'm all for the dollar turning over. If everybody puckers up and saves their money, that economy is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
The economy, for an economy to work, you have to spend money. You have to save money, but you have to spend money. But I think on the flip side of that, the hard seltzers, obviously it's got a stigma of probably being like a girly drink or like a skinny girl margarita or a non-beer drinker's alternative. But who the fuck am I, man? Make money.
Yeah.
Sell out. I don't know. I wouldn't consider it selling out. I would just...
yeah.
Coronas, Bud Lights, they're obviously going to go all in, but I think like there's a lot of micro breweries like Society. I could never in a million years see them doing this. And I think when this wave rolls over, I don't know if it's going to be like a Four Loko. There's a lot of fads with alcohol. I mean, I remember, is Fireball still a thing? You guys still drink Fireball?
It's around. I don't drink.
I haven't had a shot of Fireball in a decade. Remember before that, it was like... you guys remember that sweet tea that was super big for a couple of years?
I remember like Juice.
And then before that, it
Four
was...
Loko were big.
Well, when I was in high school, the big thing that came out was Jägermeister.
That's been around.
That's still
Well, I'm 35. You're 28.
How old is Jägermeister? Is it really that new? Like,
I think it was big in probably Germany
It got
forever,
big,
but
I
then
think
it...
when like Monster and Red Bull got big.
but it's been a company for a long time, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but as far as...
I'm gonna look into that because I just assume it's like a legacy company.
I think Jaeger bombs became.
Jaeger bombs became like a college thing. Jaeger bomb.
Yeah.
Remember that? You guys remember that sketch? My new haircut, my new fucking haircut. It was like It was like
I don't think so.
stereotyping Jersey Shore people before Jersey Shore came out. He just goes into the bar. It's a sketch, but he's just like Jaeger, slut, Jaeger, Jaeger. It was like, I don't even know if YouTube was around yet, but it was a viral video, and the guy nailed it. The guy nailed the stereotype. Jaeger.
Yeah. I went through a Jaeger phase.
Yeah, I remember like having a Jaeger t-shirt. Just the ultimate bro. Yeah, cops want to see that, man. When you get pulled over, have a fucking Jägermeister t-shirt on. They love that shit.
Well, I like spicy food. I like kind of like different things. And I think that's where the Jaeger kind of drew me in.
But going back to what we're talking about, do you think that hard seltzers are going to withstand the test of time, or do you think it's going to be a fad? It can't be bigger than it is now because there's just going to be more and more competition. Mm-hmm. And like anything, the top 2 or 3 are going to just like energy drinks, Red Bull, Monster. What's the other one, Babs? Even though we already talked about it. Rockstar. And then everyone else kind of fights, for the bottom feeder stuff and the.
I would say that it's going to be curious how, and the word's not coming to me, but how regulation views it, because right now it's viewed as it's the tobacco TTB, tobacco trade.
Yeah,
it used to be firearm or whatever. They view hard kombucha, hard seltzers as beer, which is like, how do you not? Because
it's in the same like alcohol by volume.
I don't even know like how they're determining that and then saying that like mead is wine and.
Well, generally, if you get like most restaurants just have a beer and wine license,
right? But you cannot make wine or mead or cider under a Type 23, which is a small beer manufacturers. There's another one for larger. But anyway, so under a Type 23.
Too many permits in California. Don't move to California. What was that? Turn your phone off.
Donation.
Oh, there's a donation.
Hey. So under a Type 23, you can make
Controlled.
beer, but you can also make hard kombucha and hard seltzer. So if that continues, and we do see potentially the societies, but the Culvers, just the local brew pubs, providing that beer, alternate for people who want it, then I could see it lasting for sure.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to say it's going to last no more than 3 years. I think we've seen the peak of it. I think it's going to be played out, and I think there's just going to be something new, like there always is. Mark my words on that. 3 years from now, we're going to make a sketch and rip on everyone that drinks hard seltzers. I'm kidding. I drink them. Maury drinks the shit out of them. Maury shows up at 10 a.m. with one, man.
I'm not a fan, but I'm sure there's some out there that
I'm saying 3 years. I'm saying 3 years. You heard it here. You heard it here first, and I think there's going to be something else. I mean, I remember what was the trend right before hard seltzers? Probably hazy IPAs. Yeah, and then everybody did that, which is kind of more of a beer drinking thing. I don't think my dad would drink a hard seltzer, but I think it's way more universal than a beer style. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think passion is a fashion, and 3 years from now, it's not going to be as it'll be around, it'll be in existence, it'll be in circulation. But I think this is the height of it, and the more we see commercials of everybody doing it, I think it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. Some people won't care, but I think it's going to rub people the wrong way.
Time will tell.
Shit, man. We said before, there is no money in making it. If you want to make it, take over the world, do it. You're going to have a lot of competition, but the margins on hard seltzers are paramount compared to beer. Let's switch topics, because this is kind of me and Mike kind of hit on this, and generally what we're going to talk about is called innovations in brewing, or more rapid these days, because for more often than not, I've been brewing probably 5 or 6 years. With that, I've taken hiatuses and stuff. Mm-hmm. I've only probably, sometimes you brew 10 times a year, sometimes you brew 30 times a year.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a month, maybe once a month. But as of recently, maybe I can't hit that anymore. As of recently, there's been 3 things that stood out that I've never seen before. One of them was Kveikist.
Yep.
2 was that kettle sours have taken off as a home brewer stance, because I think that 4 or 5 years ago, everybody went from barrel aging to letting their stuff stashed in storage units and stuff like that, and waiting a year. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of, I think what spawned that was pretty much more competition in the electric brew system game. 4 or 5 years ago, it was pretty much just Grainfather, which was $1,000. Now you can get these systems for like $300 or $400, which is everyone's going to do kettle sours with that now that you have temperature control. And not only that, is that I've got that sour Philly yeast coming. I just bought a little bit off Amazon.
Nice. And
word around the campfire is that cuts that day in half, because kettle sour sucks to brew. It's 2 brew days.
Yeah, right.
There's obviously different approaches to how people do it, but we would bring to boil and knock out twice.
Right.
And then you have to let it, sit for 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 hours to bring your pH from 4.5 to 3.3. And if it cuts that in half, this sour Philly Lallemand yeast, you could brew a sour in a day now. I mean, without fermentation and kegging and stuff, but that's nuts from where we were 4 to 5 years ago, when everybody's sours was just barrel aged.
Yeah, yeah.
Put them in tequila barrels, put them in whiskey barrels, put them in what's Henneberry whiskey?
Yeah, Henneberry whiskey.
Put them in whiskey barrels, and now you could do it in a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is also going to breed more competition.
Uh-huh.
It's going to bring a lot more sours into the market.
So is that a direct substitute in your mind, the quick sours versus the aged sours?
Again, like I said, I don't care about what the process is, as long as the end result is delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I'm speaking for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I go get a $17 hamburger it better taste like a $17 hamburger. I don't care if the chef called in sick. I don't care if you guys are understaffed. I don't care if there's a fist fight in the kitchen. Whatever it takes, make that hamburger taste like $17.
Yeah.
Would you think there's credibility in just leapfrogging so many traditional processes, or there's no wrong or right, man? I'm just gonna keep drinking beer.
I'm not gonna hate on anybody that makes quick sours, and we'll probably
But-
do it because people love
Disclaimer
sours.
alert. I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but I'm about to be a dick.
No, but I do think that there is a a certain like romance to the long sour. Where you make this beer and you
A labor of love.
you put it into this barrel and it's just like you gotta wait for it. You gotta just hope and pray to the beer gods that
Do
it's
you
gonna
do
come
barrel
out
aged
right.
sours?
I would never. I don't have the gall to do it.
Or the space?
Yeah, the space. I mean, if at a certain
You got these
point,
barrels hanging out in your garage, and your wife's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, if at a certain point it kind of like comes across.
You want some of this?
I would. Yeah, I'll try it. I'm curious for sure.
All right, what are we drinking? We're drinking Four Sons Brewing.
Speaking of sour, I'm not a huge sour
I'll share it with you.
person, but I'll try anything 20
It's good.
times.
The carbonation dropped out like pretty fast. It goes flat pretty fast. But when we started doing Homebrew for Life, like 3 years ago, it's got a good color to it. We got to get another camera. We got to get like the NBC camera back, the barrage cam. Four Sons Brewing. What I know about them is I think they're in Los Angeles. We've done a couple videos with, I don't know what we did. Maybe some beer battered buffalo chicken Super Bowl dip or something. But they've been in circulation for a few years.
Nice.
Shout out
Cheers.
to cheers, brother. Shout out to these guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for coming over. I like the shirt too.
Yep. Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, but does anybody know the story behind that shirt? You're from Carlsbad. Do we have any live callers?
Is this one of the question and answer things with the
Do you know what the story behind that shirt is, though? Right.
394 Tony Gwynn's batting average?
Right, but do you know the further story behind that?
Nah, I don't think so.
Is that it?
I mean,
Anybody? Bueller?
apparently Tony Gwynn, as far as I know, he like helped develop the recipe, and I remember tasting it when it first came out.
I know nothing
it-
about that.
It definitely has changed since that. So that's like whatever, but I think they made a better beer, so I'm gonna let it slide.
Here's the kicker to that, and I think I know what I'm talking about. I know about video games, a little bit about beer, and a lot about sports trivia.
All
I
right.
got that Rain Man shit. That was a strike year, and they only played 110 games, so we never even had the opportunity to try to hit 400. And the last person who did it, I think, was Ted Williams.
Wow.
Played for Boston, but's from San Diego. I think he went to Hoover High School, but that's why it was so significant, because he never had the opportunity. It was a strike year. One of those dilemmas where the players didn't think they were getting paid enough, or the owners thought they were paying too much, and they just called the season off.
That's a bummer.
It was a super bummer. It's a super bummer in all of sports. I don't know how there's not common ground. Is there any difference between, $8 million and $20 million a year? There wouldn't be to me. I mean,
At that point, it's monopoly money.
does
It's
food
just like-
taste better? Do beds get more comfortable? Do beers taste more? I don't know. What's happening over here? Babs, we got to clean up on aisle 9. Throw that towel over there for me. Oh, it's all good. But yeah, that's the story behind 394 for all those people out there that enjoy. And it's AleSmith, right?
Yeah.
It's AleSmith. Which I do not. Is it leaking from the
It's
styrofoam?
fully
Is it from the styrofoam?
Yeah, it's a lot of water.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right. This is live. Babs, can you?
That needs to go like in a
Yeah,
trash
can you
bag.
throw it up? All right. Does anybody have any jokes?
Trash bags?
Yeah, in the garage on top of the
Or
fridge.
Put it in the sink.
That's cool. Why did the skeleton get a raise? Because he was outstanding in his field. How we doing on time, Babs?
You're 35 minutes in.
That's it. We got a couple of technical difficulties.
Did you say skeleton or scarecrow?
Why did the scarecrow get a raise? Because he was outstanding in his field.
I heard skeleton.
I don't know. I mumble.
I was like trying to come up with it. I was like,
Do we have any questions, Babs?
Yeah, someone was asking about a sulfide smell coming from Kavik.
Sulfide smell coming from Kvike. I've only brewed with Kvike. I don't know how to say it. Everyone says it differently. Back to this beer snob shit.
Kvike.
It's not Kvike. It's Kvike. It's Kvike.
Yeah, who cares?
It's oh my bad, dog. Sulfide smell from Kvike.
Mm-hmm. That's all they asked.
I got nothing. We brewed with it a couple times.
I mean, maybe it's just high, coming from your water.
The only thing I noticed about
But that would come through in other beers.
the only thing I noticed about Kvaikis was that it fermented way better, way hotter. I don't know what the range is, like 80 to 95 or something, but I would crank it all the way up, put it in my bathtub. That's how I do my DIY temperature control.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the airlock was going way more apeshit when it was closer towards like 95. How's my audio? Let us know in the comment section if it's obnoxious and shit. I hear the neighbors. Something sounds good. Who am I hearing?
Conversation. That's not yours.
To answer your question, Kvike, I don't know. I have not brewed with it. I have not brewed with it enough. But my only recommendation on Kvike is brew super hot with it. I still don't know how that works. But that's obviously one of the innovations we're talking about in brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to brew it and hit your final gravity in a day or two?
I've only used it. I've brewed with it twice, but I've only followed through on the fermentation. It was just going up to my buddy's place to brew the second time, and it's super quick. I think that we did it on the lower, or not crazy high end, but probably mid to high 80s.
What style were you guys doing?
Just quick IPA, Kvike IPA.
Just a West Coast IPA?
Yeah.
How'd it taste?
It was all right. It was kind of orangey. I think that we did the Hornindal one.
I don't know. I did the White Labs one.
Yeah, I think that they have 3 now. But I mean, I'm intrigued. I think it's.
Yeah, I think it's very universal. It can work with a lot of beer styles. Has anyone tried it with a lager yet? Is that humanly possible? I know it's humanly possible. Actually, I don't know. No, it's probably not.
From what I've read and
what am I talking about?
Talk to people about it, it is best fresh. So it's.
What's the exact opposite of a lager? I mean, if you're gonna brew a lager, you're gonna do it at 52 degrees.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit, which is the exact opposite of
what
I brewed mine at.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comment section if anybody has any crazy beer styles with Kvike yeast. What are we calling it? Kvike?
Kvike.
Kvike?
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the hell we're talking about. Everyone sounds like an idiot trying to sound like a... Where does it come from? Eastern Europe?
Yeah, even Russia,
Scandinavia
but
or
mostly
something?
up into Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Which that's an innovation.
What the bobsled teams are.
That was actually taken from tradition,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the innovation of quick sours is kind of bucking tradition,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of interesting. One's reaching back, and the other one's looking at that and being I don't have the time. I'm gonna see if I can do it quicker.
I think it's the best time ever to be a home brewer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a very difficult time to be a commercial brewery because there's so many styles coming out, and it's so hard to be ahead of, usually you would, as a business owner, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you would spend 10% of your week, your communication trying to forecast, but now it's everything is, a lot of styles are so much accessible that everyone can do it. And if everyone does it at the same time, you're kind of back at square one. How do you put something out first nowadays? How are you a brewery that puts out the new style or quick to market? How do you get out of your own way?
I would say if I were ever to do that, it would be because it's something I wanted to do, and it was true to what I wanted to do.
You don't care how many people are doing it?
Probably much less so than I
Minimal.
should, as somebody who's going to be trying to make money doing this.
I like that.
You know,
That's integrity.
but
Doesn't matter how cool or how many people are doing it. You're just gonna do what you love.
yeah, and like, you know, like I don't know if you've ever had. We were talking about smoked beers earlier. I've got a Schlenker Law Rauch beer.
Should we put that in the
Over
fridge?
there.
Is that in the?
It's in the leaking bucket, so I think it's good.
I'm never buy a styrofoam cooler from 7-Eleven ever again, man.
But I mean, you
I
know,
get my money back.
beer styles came from what people had around them at the time.
Whatever was accessible ultimately through Mother Nature.
Yep.
And I'm making a video about that tomorrow night. I'm making a DIY video, which is exactly what we're talking about right now. And before I say get into buying anything, you know, obviously when you think of ales, you think of Southern California. When you think of lagers, you think of old school Eastern Europe, generally where beer came from. And without even buying anything, like, can you ferment outside? Can you ferment, you know, in an attic or next to your heater or something like that? I mean, I've knocked out in a pool. You know, if you have a pool out in Alpine that's 55 degrees, you can lager.
Yeah.
You can lager.
Totally.
I mean, before we got our Anvil Foundry brew system, I made this big deal about, you know, firm blankets, and I tried everything. I would buy these little mini heaters, and I'd put them in the fridge. Unplug the fridge and put them in there, and they just turn off because they get too hot, or, you know, you put a sleeping bag over them. All you have to do is literally just, if you have a bathtub, crank it up all the way up. Your bath water in San Diego gets to about 125 degrees, just all the way on.
Oh, I know.
And then if you put your kettle in there, wrap it up.
Yeah.
The bigger the quantity you have, the
Use
more it's
what
going to
you
retain
have.
that temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And if I fill up my bathtub, I can get temperature control for about 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You could just put your kettle in there, and then in the morning, shower, take it out, crank it back up, and you're going to put your room temperature wort in your 125 degree bathtub, and it's going to meet at it's going to take about an hour to get to about like 96, 97, and it'll, over 5 or 6 hours, it'll retain that temperature and maybe get down to like 91. Shower, make sure your girlfriend doesn't scream at you, let her shower, fill it back up, you have a kettle sour. We brewed.
That's cool, man.
We brewed a couple weeks ago. He was telling me it's going to be 90 degrees again next week. You could just do kettle souring outside. You don't have to buy a $1,000 Grainfather or a $500 mash and boil or Brewzilla or whatever.
Take what they give you.
Start with Mother Nature. Focus on DIY temperature control with Mother Nature before you want to buy anything, and I ultimately think it's going to make you a better brewer because you're more resourceful. I mean, I think anybody can spend, like, I was looking at glycol chillers today for home brewers, and these people are doing these YouTube videos on glycol chillers. I mean, I get it, we're all different, but I think it's just not like the homebrew for life way to spend $1,000 on a glycol chiller for a homebrew system when you can do what I just did. Put it in your bathtub. Go get your lettuce cabinets in your fridge, rip them out, fill them up with water, put them in your freezer, get 30-pound blocks of ice. Instead of cranking your hot water on, put your cold water on. Room temperature water is going to be probably, I don't know, still probably about 70, 75 degrees right now. Put in 50 pounds of ice. You're going to have cold temperature control now for 5 or 6 hours as well.
Totally.
Throw those lettuce cabinets back, fill them up with water, throw them back in there. By the time that drains, shower, have your girlfriend shower, you shower, have your kid shower, put the ice back in there.
Yeah.
Now, the bigger the ice, a big 30-pound block of ice is going to take
Bigger
probably
the ice,
48
the larger
hours.
the puddle.
Well, yeah, but it's going to take about 48 hours to actually solidify. But after like 5 or 6 hours or 8 hours or overnight, you could dump it in there. It's going to be super cold water, or it's like a lake. It's going to be ice on the top and then super cold water, and you could temp control that way.
Totally.
But
these are just many ideas for everyone out there.
Well, because
you can do it.
There's two big factors I think to home brewing. Obviously, if you're a commercial brewery, you have jacketed fermenters, you have temperature
More
control, you have glycol chillers, you have way more control over your temperature and your oxygen. That's obviously the two biggest things in beer. In yeast, in beer. You know, beer is, obviously the two biggest enemies are oxygen and sunlight. But as a home brewer, I think it goes back to how fast are you drinking your beer, because the big thing in home brewing right now is pressure transferring, going from your
Don't
fermenter
introducing
just to
oxygen during the transfer.
It doesn't matter at all to us because we drink our beer so fucking fast. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So for our biggest emphasis is how do we do DIY temperature control without spending a ton of money year round.
And then maybe even my suggestion before you go through all that work with the tub is adjust your yeast. Get some Kveiks.
Get some Kveiks. And if you don't even have a tub, you can buy a bin from Walmart or Target or whatever. That's the same. What do you got there?
Just some water. You want a little water in there?
A little water.
Yeah. From yours or?
Man, I got a reputation to protect, man. Not brown water.
Well, I'm just saying, for the next beer, that's my beer nerd in me. Mixing out the glass.
Good man.
Get those flavors out of there. Good flavors, but different.
This is straight moonshine, man. You lie like a rug.
Just
so,
spit it in your face.
we got a video coming out tomorrow night. You guys check it out, Homebrew for Life. We say we've been putting out videos every Wednesday night for like 3 years now, but tomorrow we are putting out a video, and we kind of just spoiler alerted it. But temperature control, to me, it's the biggest thing.
Mark your calendar.
And to play the devil's advocate of what we just talked about, allowing a lot of oxygen in your beer is very bad, especially if you sit on a lot of beer. And fortunately, we just don't. Me and Maury will come over here and drink 5,000 beers without even thinking about it. Or, Donnie and the gang. But I would probably put a bigger emphasis on pressure transfer. But we move through too much beer. And obviously, it's easier to do. I mean, it's, no commercial brewery does it. Everyone transfers without oxygen. But I tried it as a homebrewing thing, and it's kind of dangerous. I think that's maybe why I'm so anti is because we did try it back in the day with glass fermenters, and we had the PSI set to like 2 or 3, and I was just worried about this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Blowing up in my face. But
I've had some bottle bombs in the past.
I've had some bottle bombs.
Yeah.
Just from bottling in the hallway closets and stuff.
Yeah.
Blowing up. I remember going up. Is it drive-by at 2:30 in the morning? Ah, man. Shitty fucking beer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how's it going, Babs? Is anybody watching this episode? Or
You almost have 100 viewers.
we have 100 viewers? Shout out to you guys, man. We have no... Should we pull it up? Let's pull it up. We're not on our phones. My girlfriend hates this. Can I pull it up? Is there any way I could pull it up
I'm looking at it.
and send it to my phone? And I guess I would have to go through Instagram or something like that. This would be a good thing. We should bring it up because I want to talk about the best beer drinking cities in the world. And obviously everyone's been to their own different ones. I've got really good beer drinking cities, and I've got very bad beer drinking cities.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about the city was bad, but beer, like an IPA, tastes different from New Orleans to Sedona to Portland to San Diego.
As in like the same IPA or just
Like a West Coast
whatever?
IPA would... No, not in the same IPA. The style tastes different.
Yeah,
And a lot of that has to do with...
Water.
I think water's the biggest. City water versus well water versus city water. Just being different. We're going to pull it up. We're not being rude. We're not checking our MySpaces. We're going to talk about...
I'm going to move you into my top 5.
Do you still have a MySpace? What's your MySpace song? We got and our sponsor, Anvil. What's going on, guys? All right, it's us. See, we got some people. We have no idea what we're doing. We're trying to figure this thing out. But I'll tell you what, this is the first broadcast where we've actually figured it out. Milwaukee is the best. Rob Baronis. All right, we got some action. All right, and damn, you look good, man. Not as good as me, but you look fucking good.
Nice.
Am I wearing the fucking, you guys gotta tell me when I got my sweatbands on. I'm fat kid. Oh.
The camera can't pick up how bad I smell right now.
We got some
I was
action.
out in Murrieta today.
Doing what? David Holt. Long Beach Beer Labs. Shout out to David Holt, man. I met that dude at Booze Brothers Oceanside last week. He came down and brought me some beer.
Ooh, that's a good spot.
Yeah, man. Beer is a uniter, not a divider, man. It brings people together.
Absolutely.
I don't know how rude we're being. Houston, Texas. I don't think... When I went to Texas, I think it was more of kind of like a business thing.
I've never been. My brother went. He loved it.
Where'd he go?
I'm pretty sure he went to Jester King, which
Where the hell is
would
that?
definitely love to be on the list. You never heard of Jester King?
No, man. That's why I'm asking.
Ooh,
Here
it's
we go.
they do some cool stuff. They've got a farm. They've got goats. They're doing like the whole like farmstead type of thing.
We do have some action. It's coming together now.
Not that I
Look at
know
all these people, man.
super well.
Texas all day.
pH meter, nice, crucial.
I would love to go to Milwaukee.
Mm.
They named their team after beer.
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of history in Milwaukee with beer.
One would think.
Where was I too loud, Babs? Did you kill me?
Chicago, yes, great beers.
What's going on, Babs?
Just stop moving so much.
Sorry, my bad. What's the history behind Milwaukee? Is that Anheuser-Busch? Is that Budweiser?
I'm pretty sure it's Anheuser-Busch.
I think that's a safe bet. Yeah?
I don't know.
Coors is Colorado.
Yeah, for sure. St. Louis is Budweiser, so it's
St. Louis is Budweiser, and then so we're talking pretty much Miller.
Yeah, it's gotta be Miller.
It's got to be Miller.
yeah.
Is there a Miller Field?
Miller Lite.
Is there a Miller Field?
Is that the
Is someone-
Chicago Bears?
That's
Who's
Soldier
on
Field.
here?
Babs, is someone letting us know where the Miller Field is?
So somebody said Miller. Multiple people said Miller.
Miller is Milwaukee.
PBR, another one.
I thought they were Olympia.
I don't know.
These guys probably know better.
Yeah.
What do you say we drink a beer, man? We
Yeah.
got the, here, let's do, do you want to do one of your German beers?
Let's do some German beers, unless you want to just crack one of those out.
Did you already have one of these?
Yeah, I did.
Was it before you came over?
Yes, it's the first.
All right, Society Brewing Company. This is probably my favorite IPA. I don't know how many people have heard of Society Pupil, but beer is kind of like music. You get into music, you get into a band for a year, you get into beer, you get into a certain brand. Like, I remember I was so gung-ho over Deschutes Fresh Squeezed IPA. Couldn't get enough of that. Went up to Portland, went up to Deschutes to try it, and for some reason I thought it would taste better, but it tasted the exact same. It tasted like a juicy fruit roll-up, and they don't add any.
That's a
Extract.
testament to their packaging team.
That's exactly a
deal.
testament to their distribution team. I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way. Because that's so true, because beer does taste differently sometimes, whether it's from draft or bottle or can, especially the local guys. Like, you'll go to a brewery and you'll have, a couple pints and you're like, let me get that 6-pack to go, and you go home and you're like, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
That wasn't it.
Which, speaking of local breweries doing a good job, I think, Booze Brothers.
Booze is great.
They just kind of had to do a whole pivot into cans with COVID-19, and
Well, me and Booze, we're thick as thieves. Dave and Donnie listen to this.
yeah, they're
I'm a
good dudes.
I'm a little bit biased towards Booze, Battle Mage, and Culver, but that's cool. That's fair. That's a good shout out. Shout out to them. Shout out to Babs for picking up my. I wander. I hit things. I move around. Babs is he's like my
Maestro.
conscience. He knows like to talk louder. Shut the fuck up.
What would Babs do?
Shout out to Anvil. I guess they've been good to us. They really resonate with our style. I said in the last broadcast, we've talked to a couple breweries, and they want to do like review videos kind of for like $1,000 fermenters and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying we're never going to do that. It's never going to be there. it doesn't really fit the theme of what we do because we're not so much. The main people that come up with the ideas for this stuff is Maury, Donnie, and myself. And I think I'm more of like the DIY hack guy. Maury's probably the more of like DIY hack / recipe development. And then Donnie's just like recipe development. I'm the Jimmy rigger. Maury's like the trial and error guy. Donnie's like, I'm going to read a book that thick about like a blonde ale, you know?
Yeah.
So, what's going on? Am I paying my phone bill? So I think that Anvil really resonates with us because it's kind of a blue collar vibe and it's the most affordable. There's a lot of breweries out there that are making like very expensive homebrewing stuff, which is kind of interesting to me because homebrewing's not that big. It's not like, you know, way more people golf than homebrew. Way more people go out to the desert on dirt bikes than homebrew. The homebrew community is pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
And to start going from, you know, $100 fermenters to $1,000 fermenters,
Yeah.
it's nice. It's not necessary, but I don't think it really works well.
How scalable is it? You know?
Dude, they're not. They're like
Yeah.
they're like 7-gallon.
Before I...
Yes, sir. They're like 7-gallon fermenters, and they're like with the jacketed and the temperature control.
Yeah, I know.
And-
That's what I'm saying.
and
but
the bells
how
and
many
whistles,
people are
it's-
going to pay $1,000 for?
I think it's a Halo crowd. I think it's a small. You know,
Yeah.
how many cars does Ford sell Ford GTs to? The
Yeah.
0.001%.
Yeah.
So
I like Anvil. We've got some Anvil fermenters.
Anvil's great. Anvil is you know, it's the kid company of Blickman. Blickman is the
I thought it was like
the
John
mama bear.
Palmer.
John Palmer is their spokesman. He's the guy that, you know,
Okay.
they slap his face on it,
Gotcha.
and hopefully it, you know, sells a more you know, more units or so.
That's good.
And I've talked to other homebrewers and stuff, and some homebrew channels, and they're dying to get like free product or product placement and stuff like that. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know who Brian is from Short Circuited Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very integrity first man. He's out there in Cleveland, Ohio, and he's like, if it doesn't benefit the homebrew community, I will not do it or make that video.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I respect that. I respect that a lot because he's not just a, you know, game show host salesman that's just trying to put content out there, get
Yeah.
some shine, and make a couple ad revenue dollars.
Character first.
Yeah, and you know, we have a really hard time with like, you get over, homebrewing is small fish, small pond. But once you get over 10,000 subscribers, there's like probably a copy paste thing that goes out. Try our Bloody Mary mix. Try our hangover pill cure stuff. Once you get over 20,000, which we do not have, Brian told me, he's like, Brian from Short Circuited Brewers said, our like product placement stuff has gone through the roof. And he's like, I can't really. You got to send me the video. You got to send me the product. I got to see if it even works, and then I got to make the video. It's like he's very selective of like who he goes with, and what I'm saying is like Anvil's a pretty damn good bet. It's affordable, it's durable. I put a lot of
blue collar.
It's blue collar. I put a
Yeah.
lot of emphasis on like it's stainless steel and plastic. How expensive can it be? It's the same stuff you wash in your kitchen.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff you made your mashed potatoes in and your salad bowl in.
But it's nice. We've got their 7
You have
and a
you have
half
what?
gallon.
Anvil?
Just their Anvil. Just
Oh,
their
that's what we
little
have.
ones.
Yeah.
I think we've got 2 of those, and then one of their like 2.5 gallon ones.
Why do you have that?
Just for like if we do extra or whatever, just
Or
split some yeast or dry hop differently or
Strike
something.
or sparge water, you can just fill that up really fast and just, if you're doing 5-gallon batches.
Yeah, just 5 gallon batch stuff.
How big are the batches that you and your brothers do?
We actually have, we kind of.
How big's your system?
So right now so I'm on a hiatus right now of homebrewing. I'm itching to get back into it. So we've got 2 grain fathers, And that just kind of happened where we had one and then it stopped working. And
Are they
they're
still
just
$1,000?
oh, here, and they just sent us a new one. And
Oh,
then,
really?
And then we're like, well, we might be able to fix it. So we went and tried to fix it, and we fixed it. So now we've got 2 working grandfathers.
What broke down?
It was the
LCD screen?
It was a probe inside, like underneath, and so it wouldn't connect up to the controller.
Okay.
And we just took it apart and like connected something, and it was as simple as that.
It's pretty much happened when I broke Donnie's grandfather. I think I
Yeah.
got like a little bit of electricity or a little water where it shouldn't have water, and
Yeah.
$100, and they sent him a new one. And
So we were working on that for a while, and then I started taking Mike's class, and
this is good.
This is
good.
Society's the best.
Society is the best.
So, and then I had the opportunity to work on a 1-barrel system from Spike with some SS fermenters. So,
What do you mean?
A little bit more
You
control.
bought that, or
No.
just at Mike? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, with
I'm an
that,
idiot.
and then eventually once we get going, we do have a 5-barrel pub system with some 10-barrel unis. So that's what we'll be working with when we're up and running. But
What do you mean up and running, man? Is there anything you want to come clean about, or what?
I mean, we've got a lot of work to go. I was out in Murrieta today picking out a propane tank.
Is there anything you want to say or get off your chest, or
It's nothing too serious, except for Blue Fire Brewing
Oh, you brought the hat. Give it to me. I didn't even catch that.
coming to North County
Braj.
relatively soon.
Dude, that's tight. So there's actually 2 people opening up breweries. I'm opening up a brewery.
Are you?
Yeah. But there's a catch. There's a kicker. We're going to talk about, I mean, as much as you want to talk about, how comfortable you are with something, a big Christmas gift type
Mm-hmm.
anticipation thing. But I'm opening up a brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
Well, it's the only brewery in San Diego that we're actually not going to have a beer permit.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm full of shit. I'm not full of shit, but there's a big asterisk. There's a giant asterisk. I don't know if it's going to be by the end of 2021 or if it's going to be at the end of 2023. But I want to get an office
Okay.
that has a brewery in it with a bar and a man cave and a kitchen where we can make all of our dick off food videos, because we're going to get a lot more back into that. And it's going to be, probably off Palomar Airport Road or Vista or something.
Yeah.
And we're going to have beer in there, and we're just not going to sell it. It's just going to be for the homies. And we're just going to make YouTube videos all day.
That sounds fun.
We're going to have a brewery that doesn't sell beer. I'm not kidding, man.
So like a 30-gallon, like a barrel. Like,
No, it's just going to be fucking 5-gallon batches, 10-gallon batches.
yeah, there you go.
We're going to get,
Cool.
I'm going to try to get an office within a year, which is probably not going to happen in that time frame. But
You never
I'm
know.
on the last draw with my landlord. My girlfriend hates when everybody comes over here and we're eating, breakfast burritos, shit's all over the floor, and
Yeah.
everyone's smoking cigarettes out front, drinking out front. We're not allowed to drink in here, which makes it very difficult when we're brewing, because home brewing obviously turns into a hangout.
Yep.
I've had a commercial lease before, and if you score a pretty good lease, you're paying less than $1 a square foot, and we
Yeah.
can put something together that's maybe less than 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Homebrew for
Do it,
Life.
man.
It's gonna be the broadcast, but the bar is gonna be called Paul's Fridge. You know why it's called Paul's Fridge? Because my dad's name's Paul, and when I first started drinking beer, I'd steal the beers from his fridge.
Dude, there you go. There you go, man.
That's all I got, man. So we're opening up a brewery that isn't allowed to sell beer, but if anybody's in the area,
I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Paul's Fridge
All
at
right.
Homebrew for Life with the broadcast. Just a couple offices where maybe me and somebody can edit. We could, do what we're doing right now, and then build a wall in the back and do some, wannabe epic mealtime shit, cooking videos or something. Just
Yep.
pretty much what we're doing on Sunday, and can't wait. It's gonna be tight. I will
the
have this
dream.
thing up and running by the end of 2021. Homebrew for Life just got to sell a couple more 1,000 coffee mugs and make a couple more 100 videos, but
Write a book.
It's been fun. And that's all I have to say about that. What do we got over here? Should we put these up in front of the camera?
All right. Yes. So, I saw that you went to
Tip Tops.
Uruguay. No, you did some beer traveling.
Hey, nice catch, man. Thanks for watching that. That was
Yeah.
almost 3 years ago, man.
Yeah, you went to Uruguay.
My mama lives in
Portland.
Uruguay.
You can travel anywhere, and it can be a beer travel experience.
Yes, we can.
Um,
Back to before we jump into this, or we'll talk about our favorite cities while we're cracking these.
yeah.
We'll just talk back into that, but I have ADD, so we get sidetracked.
Okay.
But we'll start talking about beer cities as we drink these.
Okay.
So sorry to interrupt you, but what do we got? We got Uruguay and we got
So these are both from Germany, right? So this is Franziskaner, where I didn't go to their brewery, but a few years ago, summer of 2017, I did a pretty great beer-centric trip. And Franziskaner was my favorite
I've seen this
wheat beer.
since 1363.
And that's kind of like what I want to look like when I'm older, so I don't know if you can show them the...
Nah, we need the Madden challenge can.
But yeah, great wheat beer. I went to Tip Top Meats, and I was hoping that they had their Dunkelweiss beer. They did not, but this will do. I didn't do the brewery or anything like that. This one here is from Schlenker Law, which, going back to the
It sounds
Rauch
Spanish.
beer,
No, I'm kidding.
It's in German.
Oh, yeah.
Schlenker Law Rauch beer meaning smoked beer. This
There
is
we go.
like as traditional as you can get. They still serve their beers from their wooden casks. You literally buy tokens, and then they give you the tokens, and then you buy the beer.
See, there's the podcast right there. Like, Americans were so quick to market and so quick to like turn over beer, and these guys are doing the same shit for probably 1,000 years.
Yeah, for real. They use beechwood smoked malt that they like literally would use during the malting process. Like,
Yeah.
that's how they did it, was just, wood fire.
That's a really good story, man. That's really cool.
So which one do you want to try first?
We'll do the smoked one second.
Yeah,
We'll save that one for dessert.
that's what I'm thinking. So if I'm going to throw out one city, it's going to be
Let's
really
talk about
hard.
cities.
But Bamberg, which is where Schlenker Law is from. Most
You've been
breweries,
to Germany.
Yeah.
You've been to my dream vacation.
Yeah, most breweries per capita in all of Europe. Bamberg, Germany.
Really?
Yep.
Here, a little water to it. There you go.
Yeah. A little mixer.
What about favorite city in America
For beer?
for beer? And you can say San Diego. Oh shit! Honest mistake.
I will say my revelation when I got back from that trip, end of summer 2017, I had just gone to Spain,
Coming back from Germany.
Prague,
Sure,
Germany, London, Ireland,
2017.
Scotland. Yeah.
No, this is fresh.
So I came back and I went to Pizza Port Carlsbad just down the road, went through their bottle shop.
You
And I
saw
was
some
like,
of it?
Wow, like this is cool. Like they've got, Ochschlenker Law, they've got
Yeah.
all these great European brews. And I just walk up to their cooler right there. It's just sitting there on the concrete ground. And I order an IPA, and it's the freshest, dankest IPA ever. And it was just like an epiphany where you just go with what Mother Nature gives you. San Diego water is perfect for brewing IPAs, and nobody does it better than Pizza Port. In my
I agree with
opinion.
you. We said that last broadcast, Bab. We were talking about what's the like when I want a West Coast IPA that's accessible and not it doesn't cost you an arm and a dick.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. I want it to look like Coors Light. I want it to look like straw. I want it to look like what was that story? Rapunzel, let your hair down. I want it to look like gold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Pizza Port Swami's.
Yeah.
And it's right here. It's a stone's throw away.
They're underrated, in my opinion.
The thing about, like, when I was picking out beer tonight, I was looking at.
Do you want a little bit of this?
I'm good.
He's chilling. He's the zero tolerance man. He's the only professional around here.
Should
Thank you,
have
sir.
got some NAs.
Oh, we're doing Sober October, man. I'm gonna have like St. Pauli's girls through the roof, man.
Hey.
Cheers,
All right.
brother.
Cheers.
But here's the thing. Here's the negative side of pizza port. My dad can't go there because he feels like he's in Chuck E. Cheese. There's just too many kids running around.
Yeah.
You're sitting at like the pretty much Amish picnic style. I mean, you're bumping elbows with strangers and reaching over each other's hands for napkins and mozzarella and peppers and stuff. But I saw their beer today. Well, I guess they have two different brands now because Port Brewing is different than... Because Port Brewing's labels are like just straight green or straight blue. And then Swami's, Pano, Carlsbad Chronic, they all have like
Yeah.
the North County vibe, which is like the locals only beer. But I think for their distribution, if you look at actual Port Brewing, it's like just not jet green or jet blue, but it looks way different than Swami's and stuff.
Yeah.
So we might be throwing a couple people off right now. I don't think you can probably get Swami's the way you can get the Port Brewing stuff. I should have taken a picture of that.
so-
I do have a picture of it.
I almost actually brought a Pilsner that I think would showcase that, but there is a difference between Port Brewing and Pizza Port Brewing. Pizza Port Brewing Company.
I'll show it to you right now.
Port was a spin-off that the Marsaglias, who started Pizza Port, did with Tommy Arthur, who wanted to start Lost Abbey. And
Gotcha.
so
Oh, that
Tommy Arthur
came up.
does
Lost Abbey Pizza
Lost
Port just right
Abbey
now.
Port Brewing, and then they've got their
Is that the
B-Hop
logos?
concept.
Is that the difference of the logos right there?
Exactly.
That's it?
Yeah. So
Should we hold it up?
yeah, you want me to?
Okay, so here's the picture right here. So if you're looking at the first two on the left, you're going to probably see more in distribution. And then the three on the right, I think, are more locals only. Can you put that in front of the...
So yeah, the first two on the left are actually through Tommy Arthur's arm.
Hold it there for like 5 or 6 minutes.
Looks great.
It looks okay, Babs?
Yep.
How's our light doing?
It's great.
Looks okay?
So yeah, the first two are actually through the Port Brewing Lost Abbey,
Mm-hmm.
and then the three on the right are Pizza Port
Bressie Ranch.
coming from Bressy Ranch.
Coming
exactly.
from Bressie Ranch.
Port Brewing Lost Abbey is coming from the original Stone out in San Marcos.
Ooh. That was my first sip of this beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little banana.
Oh, yeah. Is it Belgian yeast?
Yeah.
What's the ABV
Oh
on
no,
this?
it's German yeast. It's German Hefeweizen yeast. Shoot.
Let me see that when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, if you guys come across Pizza Port Beer or Port Brewing, give it a shot. And one of the best things about it is it's still like a 6-pack, right? They do 6-packs.
6 packs of pints.
6 packs of pints.
Yeah.
Good addition to that.
I didn't see it on there. The ABV, but my guess is 5.5. Maybe.
Babs turned it down. Good man, Babs. You heard that airplane too? Good job, Jamie. Joe Rogan, Jamie Babs. That's a good beer. Typically, I don't drink Belgians at all. I think I burned myself out of them when I first started homebrewing because it was such an easy beer to do.
Revisit.
It was an easy beer to do. It was an easier beer style to do because you could ferment at like 75 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest problem with most home brewers and their off flavors is they ferment too high.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have
Kind of foolproof.
back to what we're talking about, temperature control.
Yeah.
I don't even think I had a thermometer like the first year I brewed beer. I would just put it in the hallway closet and throw up a prayer and just, you know, and it, if it tastes, it's going to taste like bananas and shit, but you're still going to drink it.
That's the beauty of beer.
Is you still going to drink it?
You were still going to drink it, and people have been doing it for so long. It's like, that's always kind of one thing where it's like, don't think too hard about this. Some dude who didn't even know, that yeast was an ingredient was making beer.
It's trial and error, man. This whole industry is based off fuck ups. This whole industry is based off fucking up.
And just people that want a good beverage. And that's the goal. And don't get disheartened if you don't make a good beverage.
No.
Drink it and try again.
Drink it and try again. I think that fermentation, if I had to put it into a tweet or something on a grave, I would just say it's trial and error. It's just trial and error. Like I said, I think probably in the last broadcast, a hazy IPA 10 years ago would be called like, if you won the gold medal for best hazy in America 10 years ago, that would be perceived as a very bad homebrew.
Mm-hmm.
But then, people get acclimated to it, acclimated to the taste. I mean, I remember in high school when I first had Sierra Nevada, I almost spit it out because I thought it tasted like detergent.
Yeah.
I thought it tasted like soap. And now Sierra Nevada, I consider that almost a lawnmower beer.
Yeah. Sierra Nevada.
The best.
Thank you for everything you do.
Sierra Nevada, sorry to interrupt, but they killed it.
Yeah.
You don't hear about them. They're not telling you, like, don't be a pussy or you're not worthy and yellow fizz is for it. They always stayed in their lane.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fan of things, breweries, people just staying in your lane.
And just doing you.
I don't think they probably ever did a hazy IPA. Never did a hard seltzer. Never did even a lager.
They've got hazy little thing.
You're right.
Which is good.
Which is affordable too.
It's very affordable.
It's very affordable. It's like $9.99.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I buy that all the time. I didn't even put two and two together. But I remember growing up, it was just like Sierra Nevada, and then they would come out with like was it like Winter Celebration Ale? I think it was white or a red label.
Yep.
And
so
then
they've
like
got their Christmas ale. They've got their celebration. No, wait. Christmas is Anchor.
That's Anchor Steam?
San
Francisco.
Christmas.
San Francisco.
Yeah. You know which one I'm looking forward to trying is the Northern Hemisphere from Sierra Nevada. That's their wet hop.
Haven't heard of that one.
They do it every year, at least for the past 5 years or so. And Northern Hemisphere Ale.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Centennial this year.
What is it usually? Chinook?
I think it just kind of depends.
I know they do the C's.
Yeah.
They're always big with the C hops.
Cascade is
Cascade,
their big one.
Chinook, and Centennial.
Yeah.
Cascade's their big one.
For the pale ale, yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, Comet is the hop with the hazy little thing. They're big on Comet. And
Sierra Nevada's a pretty good story, too. Like, two guys started it. For anybody who's ever up in the Bay Area, let alone Chico, it's not... I mean, you would never go on a vacation in Chico. But if you're in the Bay Area or Oakland or Humboldt or something, you're not that far from Sierra Nevada. And it's a pretty good story. Like, two guys started it probably... I don't know if they were brothers or best friends, but when they blew up, one of the guys bought the other guy out for $20 million, and it was like a great, clear transaction.
Yeah,
It wasn't like, the fucking wife got half of this or whatever. It was like, one guy wanted to get out of beer. He got $20 million. He was around at the right time.
Overpaid, honestly.
He was around at the right time.
Yeah.
Timing is everything to success, in my opinion. If Seinfeld came out today, I think it would bomb. But back in the day, okay, we'll save that for later. But they were out at the right time, and I heard when he bought his partner out, it was a clean break.
Yeah.
It was a good story.
Ken Grossman, the OG.
Okay, you know more than I do.
He wrote a book called Beyond the Pale.
Was it also in like the Charlie Papasan book? Did they talk about it?
Potentially. I haven't read that. Did you read it?
Like the Bible of Brewing?
Yeah.
I probably read, chapter 1 50 times, but no.
So Ken Grossman.
I hate reading. I'm allergic to reading.
The OG of Sierra Nevada. He grew up in LA area. And honestly, like when I read it, and I actually didn't read it, I listened to the audio, like podcast, or, Audible of it.
You did more than me.
And great read. The dude was just super chill, like smart guy, kind of like bucked everything that like everybody thought that he should be doing, go to law school, whatever. Opened up I love it, a bike shop up in the Sierra Nevadas, and worked at a homebrew shop. Eventually, like got really into homebrewing.
This is like late 80s, I'd imagine?
Like late 70s.
Okay.
And then I think it was early 80s when he actually opened Sierra Nevada with this dude. I don't remember his name. And I guess Ken Grossman was just working his tail off and the other guy wasn't. And it was like getting to be a point where like he didn't want to be that guy to be like, hey, you got to work harder. Yeah. So he just like overpaid him to just get him out of there so that it could be all his thing, which was a good call.
Great call. And opening up, you know, a podcast or a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel with another partner could be brutally dangerous, let alone a brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you even go up to anybody and you're like, hey, you want to start a brewery or you want to start a YouTube channel? 9 times out of 10, the person's going to be like, yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're like, you put in the time and then you're like, hey, it's your turn to brew or it's your turn to edit, 10% of those people are going to do that. So it's like,
it's a delicate thing.
It's a very delicate thing. And you better have a very, very, very special relationship with that person.
And I'm seeing it right now between you two.
What do you mean? Babs pays me hourly, man. He pays me in beer. But it's a very scary thing. I mean, there's brothers that sue brothers. There's brothers that you don't carry weight. And when I went to Sonoma State, and when I graduated, I went from a weekend warrior to tasting room to managing a tasting room called Floor Springs in Napa. We shared the same parking lot with Dean and DeLuca. Dean and DeLuca is probably the nicest like grocery store in the world. No, I'm serious. Like look at like a bag of sweet like a bag of sweetest fish is like $10.
Yeah.
And Vaughn's it's like $1.
Sonoma is the land of milk and honey.
Well, not only that, Napa's on the east, and Napa's got even more money.
Yeah.
Sonoma's cheap. Sonoma pays less. Sonoma makes it's more closer to the 101, but Napa's where the big money is.
Yeah.
And I remember on the back of every bottle of wine that we sold, it was like the story of the family, right? Like you go to a restaurant, you read the menu, you buy a beer can, you read the story or the origin or something funny. And I remember it was these two families that were like, oh, they met in the 70s and they hit it off and they started this together and they've grown over 4 decades. The truth of the matter is that the families hated each other. And they couldn't be in the same room with each other. And not only that, it's like when you get married, you have your in-laws now. You got 2 brothers, biological brothers. And then, 2 families have their other 2 brothers. And then you've got 4 wives between those 4, half brothers or step brothers, and now they're chiming in, buy now, sell now, fuck you, this and that. It's just a gnarly beast getting into any business, whether, if me and you want to share an Instagram account, I'm sure we'd even, differ on it, and scale that up to
I would
a
totally
brewery.
critique your grammar all the time.
Yeah.
Not saying you have bad grammar, but that's like the one thing I'd chime in on.
Are you for real right now, or is this a joke? Do I have bad
It's,
grammar?
it's there, not there. I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Even like that, it's like, oh, why'd you post that? You posted too much. What's going on with this? It's like at like the smallest, like sharing a Twitter or an Instagram account, it takes a very, 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 very special relationship to be on the same page with somebody.
For sure.
It takes a very special relationship, and I think it's impossible to be 50-50. I think it's just impossible. Like if you start a podcast with somebody, and I talk to friends, and friends start podcasts, which is like big business, small business, social media partnerships and stuff. And I've talked to people on podcasts and they're like, some podcasts are edited, some are live. This is live.
Yeah.
And they're like, well,
I
I edited the first one, and I the only thing you're ever going to be 50-50 on is probably the startup costs.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, well, I edited the first one. Well, I edited the second one. It's like, when are you going to give up your Saturday to do this? It's like, oh, I just had a kid. I my wife won't let me. It's like, okay, well, you want to get out before there is a conversion,
Yeah.
any conversion, whether you start making money or you're selling merch or you have a sponsor, because when you do have that conversion, it's really going to be bad. Because if you put something in paper to a guy that's like hasn't done anything, you're probably going to hate each other, and that could destroy friendships, marriages, brothers, families, you know, like stepbrothers, dads and sons.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, the one thing I like about this podcast is that it kind of goes from whatever we wrote down to a pretty loose thing. But yeah, it's to anybody out there that wants to, you know, do anything, start a brewery, podcast, winery or whatever. It's gnarly. And and like I said, it's the only 50-50 thing I think ever is going to be is the startup cost. And after that, it's like it's impossible to do 50-50 with passion, emails, work, blue collar stuff. So, you know, my best advice to anybody that's trying to start a brewery or start anything, do it by yourself until you absolutely have to, like, bring somebody on that is special and is on your page that could ultimately make the brand better and not give it more headaches. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that people say, like, more money, more problems. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. I think it's more people, more problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we have these blind taste contests over and stuff like that, people are like, oh, I'm telling this guy to come over this guy. I'm like, you can't, man. You can't. Like, I have to tell people to shut up on set. We've got cords everywhere. Babs is the only guy that's not drinking. We really have to, like, treat this, I don't want to say a job, but we have to not treat it as a party. And if I have to be a dick and yet tell one of my friends to shut the fuck up or don't smoke cigarettes in the door open, that's what I got to do to, you know, keep the video going. And if I don't know how he's going to take it or not.
Yeah, especially live.
There's a reality to even our little bullshit Homebrew for Life Dick Off YouTube channel. Like, you know, like I need. If you're here, you got to be doing something. The days of everyone just coming over, showing up, and getting fucked up, long over.
Yep.
And if you have a problem with that, that's cool. We'll hang outside of this place. And if you don't have a problem with that,
contribute.
You're here. You're here. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well,
that's all I have to say about that. I don't know.
It's tough, man. Humans are
Let's put that beer in here.
Interesting beasts.
I just got a little bit of ice down here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, nice. You know, I'm actually gonna hit the little boys' room.
Hit the little boys' room. Bab's gonna take a question.
Yeah, you're about to hit an hour and a half.
Who's talking shit? Who needs some shit?
Let's see. Bunch of random questions.
Is there people still watching?
Oh yeah, you got about 90.
What's going on, guys? Paul Hardy. Is that my dad? Troll my dad. Christopher Vodicki. What's going on, man? Andy Fios. Zach Bullpit. Cool name. QH. Are we related?
You want a question?
Sure. I'm probably not going to know the answer, but...
Yeah, so commercial brewers or home brewers, should they focus on a style or a variety?
This kind of goes back to when I interviewed Battle Mage. And, oh, that sounds good. Is that lower or higher? You turn that one off? It's not so much as what you love, but what your audience wants to see. And you could apply that to pretty much anything. You could apply that to a YouTube channel or a restaurant. I would focus, you know, I would say the average tasting room probably has anywhere from 6 to 12 beers on. And I would focus maybe, if I was going to put 10 beers on a menu, I'd have 1 Belgian, 2 Pilsners, 2 West Coast IPAs, 1 Session, 1 Sour, and then depending on the time of the year, like if it was winter or something, I'd focus more on like maybe Porter Amber. But I think it goes both ways. And beer's really easy to sell. Like anytime you go to anywhere, a restaurant, a brewery, a tasting room, like you could tell your good-looking waitresses or your beer tenders to say like recommend this, and they're going to do it. So if you do want people to try your beer, if you do want people to give your maybe style a chance or your award-winning thing, it's really easy to push. But it's I go into some tasting rooms sometimes and I see there's 10 beers on the menu and 7 of them are IPAs, and it's like you just shot yourself in the foot. You just made it impossible for any of your IPAs to stand out. I don't know. And again, what I'm saying is subjective, but like I've gone to brews before where they have like 5 Belgians on tap, and I'm like, what are you doing? Belgians are very niche style. It's a very niche style.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you have 5 of any style on tap? I don't care if it's Belgian. I don't care if it's Pilsner. You have 5 light beers on tap? How would you do? Okay, that's a good question.
I wouldn't recommend it.
If you had 10, you go to Culver, you go to Booze Brothers, you go to Battle Mage.
Yes, I do.
You go to Northern Pine, you go to most breweries, they have 10 beers on tap. I'm saying 1 Pilsner, 1 Blonde, 1 Belgian, 2 IPAs, 2 Sessions, 2 Sours, and then 2 specialty beers I'd rotate.
How many was that? Like 12?
That was probably 8. That was probably 8.
8 to 12.
Yeah. Because a lot of breweries I go to, they have the stupidest fucking menus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna
I have 1 IPA and 6 Belgians.
I'm gonna say it depends on the location. If you're in a
What
place
do you mean?
if you're in a place where it's just a bunch of locals only, and they like doing an IPA through their 3 beers that they have, and they try a different one every time, then maybe it makes sense to have 5 IPAs. And going back to Pizza Port, they've got like 10 IPAs on, and
But those aren't all Pizza Port beers. A lot of those are third party, but they still have them on.
They
still have them on.
But Pizza Port has at least 5 at all times.
I don't agree with that. What do they have? They have Swamis.
Well, at least
Mongo,
the Bressie Ranch does.
Pano.
Right now, Bressie
They probably
Ranch,
have a bigger menu. They probably have 15
do.
or 20
they've
beers, so they've scaled up.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 10 beers.
Okay.
If you had 10, if you open up a brewery,
Yeah.
you know people are going to come in. You know you're going to have foot traffic. How do you distribute your beer styles?
Being in North County, San Diego, I think you got to have at least 2 IPAs, maybe 3.
West Coast or sessions or doubles?
Exactly. In the range.
One of each.
On the spectrum, if not 4.
If you have 1
Honestly.
IPA and it's good, it's going to stand out way bigger. If you had the same IPA with 5 IPAs,
Yeah.
it's dead in the water.
Yeah. So if it were me, and I'm going to kind of go against your comment earlier about the haziness, I don't care what it looks like. If it tastes good, I'm fine with it, And that goes with like me looking for a clear beer or a hazy beer, and that's probably because I come from home brewing and not like in the industry,
We are different. Homebrewers are different than the audience.
Uh-huh. So I would always, I'm going to smell the beer, and if it smells good, that means more to me than what it looks like. Although I do appreciate a nice clear beer, and that's always nice. But yeah, I think you got to have drinkable beers, and however you skin that cat, you do it your own way, but there's 1,000 ways to do it.
So you would probably have a rotating menu and just kind of see what sells and keep it, and then if it doesn't sell, focus more on like...
Yeah, I mean, you gotta hit your audience, you gotta have some sours, so you probably do.
But if it sells now, is it going to always sell? Like if you have like your West Coast IPA now, do you think you always keep it on, or you want to try another West Coast IPA?
It's tough, man.
It's tough,
That's
and
tough.
it also depends how successful you are.
It depends. It depends on what level you're at. Like back in the day.
Can you afford to be making all these new beers all the time, or do you have to stick with your signature Sandos?
So like back in the day, if you're Carl Strauss, if you're Sierra Nevada, if you're whoever, you were kind of expected to just like have a beer, just a few beers, and then that's what you have. Like that expectation of seasonal and rotating wasn't there.
Right.
So I feel like that flagship idea of a beer was really kind of like, oh, you gotta have a flagship beer.
You have to have a flagship beer. We talked about in the last episode. All you need is one beer. All you need is one beer.
You would say you need to have one flagship beer?
Look at every brewery. Look at every brewery that's making money. Look at Ballast Point. They have Sculpin. Look at Latitude 33, who doesn't even have a tasting room, they have Blood Orange IPA. Blood Orange IPA. When you think of Society, I didn't even know about that beer tonight. What do you think of? Pupil.
Yeah.
When you think of Mother Earth, what do you think of? Cali Creamin. When you think of Pete,
Kismet. I like Kismet.
When you think of yeah, but you're local. When you think of Belching Beaver, what do you think of? We'll put them on the map. Peanut butter stout.
I do not like that beer.
It doesn't matter if you like it or not.
Yeah.
That's how everybody knew it. Peanut butter and beer. That was a cool thing to do 6 years ago.
Yeah.
All you need is one beer. All you need is one to get your foot in the door.
All right. So if you are looking for a beer, just a beer right now, like what flagship are you looking to see? What type of beer style do you see unrepresented?
For me, if it all depends what I'm doing. If I'm day drinking, I'm going to drink lawnmower beers. If I'm going out with my girlfriend and I want to have 2 beers and we're going to go home after that, I'm probably going to get whatever competes with like Society, the Pupil, or Pliny the Elder, something like 2 IPAs.
The Pupil's delicious. You can't go wrong.
The Pupil's delicious. If I'm at a tasting room and I'm in, Punxsutawney Philville, I'm going to try everything on the menu that I have not tried before, maybe in a taster no bigger than a half pint. Sour Hazy Milkshake, Gainer, Misty Flip IPA. How crazy can you get? I'm at least going to try it.
So are you doing splashes or like a flight?
I'll do a flight. I'll be the
Flight
douchebag.
still?
I'll never order a flight unless I'm the only guy there. It's such a tourist move. Just to hold up the line and
Yeah, you
get
don't
a
want to
flight.
hold up the line.
I've been pouring beer for 5 years, sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. You like
Too
brown
strong?
ales? So what would you say is the flagship beer of Battle Mage? Which they're a great brewery. I love.
Shroud of Mist.
Yeah.
Shroud of Mist.
All right.
Which
nice.
is a hazy. And then their West Coast would be Hop Dukin. And I like their Shroud of Mist way more.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Booze Brothers. My favorite beer, Booze Brothers, is probably is 1-800 Tropics. Booze Brothers, it's weird. It's a weird question because they spit out beer so fast so recently.
New
So
ones, yeah.
what's that?
New ones.
They've evolved a lot too since they.
Well, their beer
started,
got a lot
like-
better too.
Yeah.
But I think they.
But they're what was it, like Rider on the Storm or something like that? Brown. Like I don't think they've made it in a few years.
Oh, yeah.
Easy Rider Brown.
Easy Rider. Yeah.
It's not that malty beers aren't popular anymore.
I just
They're not
love
popular
'em.
anymore.
I love them.
You gotta wait till. I mean, think about it. San Diego is not a popular place for malty beers. You think of malty beers, you think of winter, you think of Big Bear, you think of snow, and we're sunny year round.
Yeah.
So maybe if you were, in Montana or something, and sitting around a hole in the iceberg and
Yeah.
fishing and all this stuff, you probably wouldn't want to be crushing pilsners or IPAs.
You want some smoky malty beer? You ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the little boys' room. Babs is gonna sub in. Babs, you ready? No. I'm gonna hit the head.
All right.
Do you want to answer a question? I'm sure Babs has got something.
Sure.
But I'm just saying.
I'll try.
Back to our question. 10 beers on a menu. I would probably not have any malty beers on that menu until November. Until November.
Yeah. See, I'm a drink of
And then
brown
people are
ale
gonna know that
at
one.
100.
But people are gonna know that one. They're like, oh shit.
Why isn't
CH
this
and
on?
Tommy put out a malty beer finally. Make a funny video on Instagram.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, you're not buying it?
And I wouldn't even say like a brown ale doesn't have to be malty. You can mash low. You can have it be a very crisp beer.
Like Newcastle. Newcastle doesn't taste like... Well, Newcastle kind of tastes like caramel.
What's
but
Battle Mage's brown? What do they call it?
Summon Ifrit? Ifrit?
It's a great
It's a
brown
great
ale.
beer, but that's Ryan's favorite style.
Ryan, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
He's not listening to this shit. He doesn't give a fuck. To your question? How's it look?
It's good.
Looks pretty good. Cool. You got any questions, Babs?
All right. What's a beer that you wouldn't have on tap? Like people are asking, like lame.
True
beers.
Belgians.
Lame beers.
Lame beers.
Seltzer.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, that is kind of a loaded question. Honestly, like, and I'm gonna preface it with, there's a beer for everyone, and as a small, you know, producer of beer, you're not gonna hit everybody's palate. But if you want to get a beer that's like, you know, a little bit more, you know, traditional, like a Carlsbad or something like that, or a Hiatus, or a Brewery, or a Brewery, but I probably will not touch on. Definitely no barrel aged sours. That's just too much work, too much overhead. I love like hoppy reds or red ales that might have like a little bit of interestingness to them. But a really malty red ale is not in my wheelhouse of what I like to drink, so I probably wouldn't brew it. I love English beers like a bitter British mild, just something that like you can have a few of. If you haven't read the book Session Beer, it's a great book, and basically it says like it doesn't need to be under 5%. You want me to put these down?
Babs. Yeah, throw some color. Babs, I got one with you.
It doesn't need to be under 5% to be a session beer. It just needs to be something that you are willing to drink multiple of. And that's kind of what I strive for when I brew it. And I actually listened to a great podcast that Doug from Society gave where he's like, we like to drink beer. That's why we got into this. And if it's not a beer that we want to drink a shit ton of, we don't want to make it. And that's why Society's really great. They make drinkable beer. So yeah, I didn't answer the question. I don't know. I'm not gonna make like
it's all good. I've never answered one of these questions.
Like a Dingaman's like raspberry sour. Like I'm not gonna do that.
We got the smoke beer. A little bit of water. We got a couple. How we doing on time, Babsy?
Hour 40 something.
We're in an hour 40. Shit, man, send us home. All right,
Yeah, ready for your last.
Let's get
the smoked beer.
Yes.
So Bamberg, Germany,
Hold up, dog.
about an hour north of Nuremberg.
Everything's always named after like hamburger, Bamberg, or Schnitzel or Hausen.
They're good. They just love their meats.
Why is a hamburger called hamburger? Is that a location?
Wasn't that invented in America?
I think hamburger's a place.
Hamburg is in the north.
I can hear that
Germany.
pour. I'm stoked off this. I do not have buyer's remorse.
Yeah,
Do the honors, brush.
So Bamberg, like I was saying, most breweries per capita in all of Europe. It's a beautiful city on a river. Literally, like the most fun you'll have on land. And
People are asking NBC.
We're doing that at the end.
shit.
We're doing that at the end.
Yeah, so Schlenker to
I'm not working construction tomorrow.
I don't know if you
all
can
week.
see on the little red
Mo- mo-
guy
mo- mo-
there.
mo- 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 mo-
But
mo- mo- mo-
that's a dude with a cane, and the
Mo- mo-
rumor is
mo-
that
mo- mo- mo-
it means like man who can't stand upright or something along those lines.
Nah, they made a beer about me.
It's a badass brewery. Bamberg's a badass town.
Let me see that label, brush.
Yeah,
What guy?
it's a Marzen. So it is Oktoberfest. It started
I know it starts in
on
September.
Saturday and it ends on October 4th. So
We're gonna do a
in the
GoFundMe.
midst.
We're gonna do a GoFundMe. It's for $30,000 to get 6 guys from San Diego out to October.
To Munich?
Yeah, first class. I'll dress up like a St. Pauli girl, whatever the hell it takes.
So I'm gonna preface this with fresh. There's
Oh,
less like intense smokiness.
I smelt it. I didn't try it yet.
Fresh, it's very much like just a mild smokiness, and it's just really nice. I think the journey over, that smokiness really builds up.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, so it's like bacon.
It is.
Yeah.
Because the bacon beers they do in San Diego are all bullshit. They never taste like maple or bacon.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't love this beer, still go to Bamberg. Still try them. Try Brewery Special. Try all the breweries there, and they're all doing the Schlenker Rauch beer kind of thing.
Amen.
Yeah.
See, I think that's a big point between Germany and America is that I've had so many beers in America, especially seasonal beers, like Halloween beers or bacon beers.
Mm-hmm.
They're so quick to market that they haven't even like dialed in their process yet. They just want to sell like pumpkin beer, or bacon beer, and when you try it, you're like, this didn't really taste like that. But this has been probably the same recipe for
things like
13
the 1400s.
Yeah.
Honestly.
See, that's a big problem in America. Everyone's way too quick to market. I mean,
Or copy each other.
for sure.
So
But like that, like
this is smoky
this is
because
a,
of the process
this is
that
a
they had to
bacon
do
beer.
it back in the day. So I was
Oh
traveling.
man, what's the price tag on that?
At,
Don't say
At
$100.
Tip Top, it was $6.99.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
16.9.
There, U.S. to euro dollars, the conversion, it was like $2 a 20 ounce from their wooden cask.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, it's glorious, man.
There's a lot of surplus of beer in.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I'd imagine, like most German beers, it's floating around the 4 or 5% ABV mark.
This is a 5.5er, I think.
That's probably pretty high for Europe.
I'm not reading it here.
That's like an English IPA. It's like 5.2, 5.4,
5.1.
which is pretty much our session IPA. But their IPAs are way more maltier. Nobody asked me, but my favorite city to drink beers in is Portland. As a,
Yeah.
unclimatic as that was, New Orleans is rad for the music, for the food, but they do not have as good of beer as
Portland.
or San Diego. They just don't. You go to Portland, you go to New Orleans. New Orleans is my favorite city to go to. I've gone there 3 times.
You want to go next February with me?
I generally go that time of the year for WizardCon, and then I get all fat and nasty, and I come back and I try to run the Carlsbad Marathon, and my time's like 5 hours and fucking 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. I go
That's-
eat like
that's
$1,000 worth of food and beer like a couple weeks before I do the marathon.
Nice. So you don't go for what's the big?
WizardCon. It's like it's a way mellower Comic-Con.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I go. If you go to San Diego Comic-Con, you don't even have to go in. You just go on the outskirts, and you're going to see all the street life and the carnivals. And I don't care about seeing celebrities.
Do you have a
I just
wizard
wanna see-
hat?
No, just my barrage vest.
Nice.
Sleeveless in Seattle.
That's all you need.
You can actually walk around, and I saw who did I see at last WizardCon? I saw Stan Lee right before he died. That was huge.
Wow.
Stan Lee was a big part of people's lives for a lot of reasons. I mean, a lot of kids that grew up maybe this
that's a figure.
introverts and got picked on or stuff. Stan Lee was a big thing for a lot of people that were, I don't know, by themselves or played video games or comic books or maybe got fun of for that, So I saw him before he died. Jason Momoa, the guy that did Waterboy,
Yeah. He was the
Aquaman.
The, like, amphibian.
Aquaman, yeah.
I think he was a merman, right, or something like that.
He was Khal Drogo, Game
Yeah.
of Thrones. Yeah, and he's just walking through everybody, and he's fucking huge. He looks like Junior Seau, like 6'4", like kind of like the douchebag where it's too cool to smile. Just kind of walk through everybody and kind of like, if I smile, I'm blowing it.
You ever see
And I
Junior
looked at
Seau
him.
in person?
Do you want to hear my Junior Seau story?
I got Junior's. It's not a good story, but I saw.
I've got a really good Junior Seau
Let's
story.
hear
Do
it.
you want to hear it?
He's a legend. San Diego legend.
I've got even a better Tony Gwynn story, but here's my Junior Seau story.
All right.
Gather around the fire. This is a true story. All my stories are true. Yeah. So I went to Sonoma State, and I graduated right when the recession was going on. So I came home, and I had nothing going on.
Yeah.
I was living with my dad, college degree, probably 23, 24 years old. And I couldn't even get a job back at the restaurant I worked at for like 7 years. Best of One in Cardiff. Nobody was hiring. It was impossible to get a job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I was also, like, looking back, I was pretty, like, victim mentality, like, woe is me. Like, if you're not getting a job, you should be looking for a job. What are you doing home, dicking off or partying? So my dad, no, I don't even know it was my dad, but I had a car at the time. But anyway, I got dropped off, where the Jimmy Durrani is, where the Del Mar Fair was, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a bunch of restaurants around there. So I went down there with a backpack just full of resumes. Just graduated college. I worked up in Napa for a little bit, came home, had nothing going on.
Yeah.
Girls that I used to date were fucking light years out of my league. Just a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
So there's like 5 or 6 restaurants right there. There's like Pamplemousse Grill. There's what's the Fish Market. There's a lot of really nice restaurants.
The original Rudy's Taco Shop.
That's a little bit further. That's off Stevens over there by Earl Warren. And I remember, and I did get a job at Pamplemousse Grill as a caterer.
Nice.
But I remember I handed out 10 of my resumes, and I always thought it was big to show face looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck your resume, fuck a phone call, go up and show face.
Yeah.
I want to work here.
Yeah.
That carries so much more weight. And after I passed out all my resumes, I went into a bar called the Red Tract, and I walked in, and it's got kind of like a horseshoe bar. And Junior Seau was sitting there. I walk right by him, and he's drinking white wine, and he's got a little ukulele, and he's covering the Beatles songs.
Dude.
Here comes the sun, da-da-da, and the sun's still out. He was day drinking, and I literally sit probably 10 feet from him, but like adjacent. Like you walk in, he's right here. I hit the left, I'm right there.
Yeah.
I ordered Newcastle, and I didn't have any money. I don't know why I was even spending, $6 or $7 for a pint or
Yeah.
a bottle or something. And he's looking at me, I'm kind of looking at him, and I could tell that like no one's bombing on him. Like there's other people there, like
Yeah.
rich, white people from Rancho Santa Fe that know he's there because they've seen him there 100 times, so it's not weird for them.
Right.
And I'm this guy that's like, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm gonna blow it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I have another Newcastle, and after 3 Newcastles, I kind of have liquid confidence to go up to him and be like, he's still there. It looked like he lived there. And he was just playing these Beatles covers. It was just, Oh Darling, and Here Comes the Sun, and he was killing it. It wasn't like he was blowing it or he was drunk, and it looked like he'd done it for decades. So I still have this cocktail napkin in my old boss's house. I grab a Red Tract and cocktail napkin,
Yeah.
and I go up to him, and I say, as I'm leaving, so if I get rejected, I'm just gone. I'm not going to go back and sit down and look like a total fucking buffoon.
Right. Yeah.
So as I'm leaving, I say, hey, man, my little brother is like the biggest fan of yours, man. He's got posters of you and jerseys all over his bedroom. Can I have your autograph? And I'm 25. I'm 24, 25.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and says, yo, bullshit, kid. You're never too old to ask for an autograph. I don't have a little brother. He smelled my bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah.
And he wrote it down. He said, Junior Seau, number 55.
Dude.
And I kept that napkin, and I gave it to my boss, Scott Sullivan, who still has it. And then he died like maybe a year or 2 later.
R.I.P.
He couldn't have been cooler.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been cooler. And that was like the 3rd time I met him. But I don't know what, goes on behind closed doors. I don't want to know what goes on behind closed doors. But
That's tough.
that was a good story, though. That was a really good Junior Seau story. And
Way
the thing
better
about
than
that,
my story.
I didn't know he was like, if you look up Junior Seau, he's like 6'4", 6'5". I thought he was like 5'9" or 5'10". Just like a little Zach Thomas middle linebacker that got in there. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's huge.
Oh, yeah.
He's Cal Drago.
Yeah. Totally.
But he knew it. It was like that scene from Fight Club. Remember when Edward Norton like tells
You
that
should've
girl
just gone
like,
up to
"Hey,
him
you're the
first
tourist. Get
time."
out of here." And she's like, "Well, you're the. I fucking read your mind. Did it go as planned as you thought it would?" And I was like, he knew. He was reading the defense. he was reading the offense.
He was good at that.
He was reading the offense, and I've told that story probably 10 times, and my boss has the Red Tract and a little cocktail napkin up on his dartboard.
Yeah.
It's cool. What's your
Nice.
Junior Seau story?
I saw him at Philly Franks in Oceanside.
Philly Franks, Francis Santa Fe Road?
Oceanside Boulevard. It's not there anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, just on the east side of the 5, he was getting a Philly cheesesteak, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Junior Seau. And then we just kind of we didn't say anything to him.
That was a
'Cause
story?
we didn't want
You
to
gotta
be.
work on that story,
Yeah.
man. Make some shit up, man. No, that was...
San Diego legend.
Yeah.
I played basketball against his son.
Sales kid?
Yeah. I also played basketball against Steve Kerr's son.
Who's Steve Kerr? Oh.
He's the current coach of the...
Played with Michael Jordan.
Yep. Golden State Warriors.
Well, that was fun, Babs. How we doing?
5 minutes shy of 2 hours.
Mandatory beer chugging? I don't even know if I can.
So, and do your plugs.
Oh, do you want to... Okay, so we got... You want to turn the hat back around?
Sure.
All right,
It
Tommy.
honestly fits better because of my ugly mane.
Can I tell them the story how you didn't really want to talk about this, but you let the cat out of the bag, so keep your eyes open for...
You can tell them what you want. It's your show.
We don't... It's your show. It's your show. It's, I'm talking about, your future establishment. There's not really a deadline, but keep it on your radar. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
North County?
Yeah, stay thirsty.
Family-oriented business?
Family-oriented, small batch. If you don't like what we're serving, tell us what you want to drink. And, we're just going to ride the waves. And we plan to be around for a while, but...
Dude, you do look like Matthew McConaughey and Shia LaBeouf had a kid.
All right,
I'm trying to put it together
all
the whole time, man. I finally got it, man. We're going to NBC after this. You came on my show, my shit show. When you guys are up and running, I will be there. I'll be the first one there, and we'll, make a Homebrew for Life video and maybe give you guys some exposure. And
right on.
He's been brewing for 8 years. I think it's pretty much impossible to have bad beer or not know what you're doing at that point. So,
knock on wood.
The reason I didn't want to bring it up because we were talking about like how difficult it is to like have a partnership and all this stuff, and you're talking about you're opening it with your family, and and then you were like, we're opening a brewery, and I was like,
yeah.
Hey man, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Time will tell. Nobody knows the future.
That's right.
Learn from the past.
Stay safe, everyone.
We got it on NBC though. You want to do it with this or with
Casey.
How many do we have?
Logo design too.
Logo design. Hey, we're looking for a logo design for this broadcast. We don't know what we're doing. I know it changes every Tuesday, and less is more. In my head, I'm thinking like some crazy Cobra Kai, like strike first, strike hard with headphones in the middle. That's just me being an idiot. If anybody wants to make a couple bucks or knows anything about Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or something, the broadcast, cool neon, 80s, early 90s vibe, let us know. Shoot us a thing. We're very easy to get a hold of. Info at homebrewflife.com. Twitter. Did we put up the Twitter and all that stuff? And YouTube? Yeah, YouTube posts, social media. If you guys want, a commission, we'll blast the shit out of you. Any artists out there or freelance artists out there?
Just do it.
Anything else?
Shout out to your donators.
Shout out to the donators. We got some donators today?
The real MVPs.
Here we go. Apologize if I forget anybody's name. We got Arnie out there from New Zealand. Thank you. Hell Brews, always showing love. Suburban Garage. Shout out to... He did too. Suburban Garage. Cheers to you, brother. And then your handwriting's even worse than mine. Was that Weld It 321?
Yeah.
Weld It 321, man. You guys help produce the show. When we started doing this, when we started doing the broadcast, we didn't know what was going to go on at all. We just knew that we wanted to put out more content, and the way that we do traditional Homebrew for Life videos, there's just a lot of researching and editing and getting together, and I hate to say this, but there's kind of like a production process to it. But when we do this, we could just get on, shoot the shit, put 2 headphones on, and we could put out twice as much content a month or a week. So the donations are huge. I didn't even know they would have been a factor. But thank you guys. Shout out to you guys. And
it's cool.
Mandatory beer check.
All right.
We don't have to. Like when I do it for the Homebrew for Life, like I zoom it up. Like if you're fast, I won't fast forward it. If you're kind of slow, I'll do 2x fast forward. If you're slow as shit, I'll do 4x.
Oh, it's perfect.
But we're gonna be in live time right now.
I brought the 10-ounce glass for the NBCs.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like in the first 15 minutes, it's pretty awkward, and now it's like, let's go for 3 more hours. But we're done.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with my hands. I was like, but
You did good.
Oh,
You did
thank
way
you.
better than me. Usually I'm like, what the fuck? I gotta crack my knuckles, eat all my fingernails, check my MySpace.
You gonna NBC that one and then
No. What's the? This is 5.5.
5-1. Opt Schlenker Law. Beautiful. And I didn't harp on it, but Prague, if you're going to Europe,
Czech Republic.
definitely go to Prague. U Fleku.
Is that in
It's-
Canada?
It's
That was a joke.
Yeah,
That was a
Czech
bad joke.
Republic. Delicious beer and cheap. So that'll be my other one that I say.
Was there a late night shout out?
Holiday CW.
Holiday CW, man. This NBC's for you, baby. This
Yeah.
NBC's actually for everybody that chimed in tonight. Mo, 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 mo.
Is this all for me?
That's for you, dog.
All right.
All right, all right, all right. When you guys are closer to opening, you guys should come back on and maybe get your who's ever, your family members that are involved in this. Maybe they could. Looks like this microphone could pick up anybody sitting next to you.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would totally be cool.
My whole thing is I just don't want to
Overhype it.
act like we're done because there's a lot of work to do.
Well, not only that, but there's a lot of things you cannot control. Opening up a business in California, there's more permits than probably any other state besides probably New York, or more so than New York. But
Yes.
it is not Arizona or Texas. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. You're cool as fuck. You took
too.
a chance coming in here, man. You took a
sure
gnarly
did.
chance coming into the CH Terradome, man.
Jumping into
We'll
the
see if you make it out.
Sharks.
We'll see if you make it out alive when the cameras are off.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, man. Mantor beer chug. Mantor beer chug. Mo, 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 mo. We'll play the clip for you guys next Tuesday. In with the good, out with the bad. That's it. God, that beer's good, man.
Very good.
What's it called?
The Coachman.
The Coachman.
Session IPA from Society.
That's it, guys. We're serious about the logo thing. Shoot us a line. Thank you, guys. Fuck, man. You guys could have been anywhere in the world. Could have been on Pornhub.
Wow.
You're here, looking at our shitty faces. Thank you, guys. Have a good Tuesday. Have a good work week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. New video coming out tomorrow night, and I think that's it.
Just keep brewing.
Keep brewing.
Keep doing your thing.
We'll talk about that in our next broadcast. How to keep brewers keep brewing and not